So I have 3 meetings coming up, back to back to back to back, and I want to just jump in really quick because I know I've been sharing a lot of the tactical, blocking and tackling things, and I kind of hit the strategy close to my sleeve, if you will. So I wanted to just pull back that curtain a little bit so you can see the overarching strategy on what I'm building towards, what the North Star is. And it's really based on 4 different trends. I'm going to show you really quick. These are the 4 trends that I'm really bullish on. And the convergence of these 4 trends is where I'm building at. That's where I'm really planting my flag at. So the first trend is there's a surge in M&A due to the silver tsunami. And if you don't know what the silver tsunami is, baby boomers, anyone over the age of 65, are in retirement age and they're looking to sell their small business. So what's happening is there's going to be a lot of activity where people are going to want to buy, the younger generation is going to want to buy these companies and digitally transform these companies. And they're going to be doing that at a micro level, small level, or even a mid-market level. Those are the targets, and there's some really big players as well. So that's the first trend. The second trend is the multiplayer workforce for specialists. And basically what this is, you're starting to see a lot of tech companies lay off these workers. Now, this tech talent, they're used to being on high-performing teams and working on projects bigger than themselves. So they're going to be looking for one another to, like in small pods, in a multiplayer fashion, to work on these type of projects. So that's trend number 2. Trend number 3 is media-led private equity firms. If you know someone by the name of Alex Hormozy, he's leading the space with this, because basically he's a private equity firm, but you wouldn't know it. In the past, private equity firms were just like old guys in suits. You didn't even know who they were. Alex Hormozy is really changing the game on the trend where you're seeing the face of the people buying the businesses, and he's out there teaching and educating business owners as a part of his flywheel to acquire companies. It's pretty amazing. And then the last trend, which is a really interesting trend, which is the one-person unicorn company. And what a unicorn is a company that's $1 billion company. Now, I first heard this trend maybe 4 or 5 years ago when I was working directly with a CEO. We were at dinner one night, and he basically said, Tremayne, one day there's gonna be a one-person $1 billion company. Now, this is 5 years ago. We were talking about this, and it seemed far-fetched, and then technology started to catch up, and then you see OpenAI CEO Sam Altman talk about this one person unicorn, and basically what that means is that one person is just really a capital allocator, just allocating capital, buying companies like crazy. But what I believe is that they're not going to do it alone. They're going to have people that are building infrastructure for them, that they're licensing out, that are running different parts of the business. It's not like it's one person. It's gonna be this one person understanding how to allocate capital in a way where they're licensing infrastructure to run different parts of their company, leveraging AI, and that's what's gonna make a one-person $1 billion company. And that's hit the zeitgeist within the last 12 months, that as a possibility. So these are the 4 trends right here that I'm really bullish about, and I'm planting my flag in. And I wanted to just, begin to, zoom out for you so you can start to see, the direction that this is going in. So if you're someone out there that is watching this journey, let me know in the comments, is there one of those 4 trends that you're really interested in? I want to connect with someone that's interested in one of those 4 trends, because I want to hear from you specifically and possibly collaborate on, on what I'm building here. So let me know in the comments. Also, my contact information is in the description. I really want to meet you if one of those 4 trends is interesting to you. Looks like I'm going to be showing my screen a lot today, so just bear with me. This is for those that want to really go behind the scenes and see like how I think and how I put these plans together. So what I'm doing right now, I have a meeting coming up with Studio IX, who was the company that we acquired. Now it's sold. It was sold last. It was sold last week, but they're finalizing things up this week. So what I'm doing right now is putting together a post mortem, basically looking at everything that we did with them during that time. It was a 6 week time span, and I'm just going back and just making sure that we delivered on what we said we were going to deliver, and the areas where we didn't deliver, how we can optimize and get better. So let me just show you really quick how I put this together. Okay, so this is what it looked like. So what I did was I built like these check boxes to say, okay, these are the scope of services. These were the things that I said I was going to do. And then these are things that, this was more on like the higher level strategic layer, and this was more on the tactical. So that's what I'm doing right now, putting this together before the meeting. It's the postmortem. This is what it looks like. This is how you optimize to get better. Because at the end of the day, you want that feedback. So let me just show you how that works, the skeleton of how that works. So if you look right here, that's feedback optimization. You want to deliver, and then you want to get that feedback so you continue to build that offer. So that's how it all works together. So with that said, I hope this is helpful. On days that I don't go to the gym to work out, what I'm doing now is at least trying to get 10,000 steps in. I average anywhere between 4 to 5,000 a day, and I want to do at least 10,000. So I am I'm taking back roads to the office. So I'm walking in and out of the neighborhood just to go the longest way possible to get those 10,000 steps in today. So just got back to the office, so I'm about to head into this meeting, post-mortem meeting. I'll let you know how it goes. I might record a little bit of it, but we'll see. But stay tuned. So did not bring you into the meeting because there was no meeting. It got postponed. There's a holiday coming up in Ghana on Monday, so I think he's getting prepared for it. So it's going to be postponed to Saturday. So we're still working on the detail, but I have another one coming up in 15 minutes. So preparing for that, I'll let you into that one. Just give you some behind the scenes footage of that. So the next one, so just for some context, so the next one is the meeting with Kumru from Turkey. She's a social media manager. I'm not sure if you watched the episode, but if you watched the episode, I had asked her to come back with some more assets, social media assets for my vlog brand. And we're gonna find out and see what they look like. She already sent them to me, but I'm not going to open it. I'm gonna allow her to experience my first reaction. I want to experience my first reaction with her, and not go into the meeting with any type of, formal plan. But I want her to be able to walk me through my reaction, walk me through that as pure as possible, rather than going in with any type of biased perspective. And that's how I like to treat like the creative aspect of things. It's not being as structured as, like, so for instance, the meeting that I had planned, I had a structure. It was super structured because it was definitely work talking about business. But this one is more creative. So I try to allow my intuition, try to allow my gut to speak louder than any words that I can plan out or any agenda I can plan out. So stay tuned. I will be bringing you into a little bit of that. So let's say we're posting on, let's say a good percentage of this is on Instagram.
Okay.
I'm looking at your performance tracking where it says
Mm-hmm.
followers, growth, engagement rate, impressions, and reach. If you
Okay.
break those down, which one of those performing indicators would be
Oh,
the
okay.
number one thing you would focus on
I
for this
see.
strategy? Yeah.
If I get it right, I will answer with impressions. Like, impressions would be the most important.
Impressions?
Yes,
Okay.
impressions.
Why is that?
Because in Instagram, it's not like people don't feel the need to follow a account, but they will like just watch the reels of that account or like the video or follow a link through that reel, but they don't specifically follow a account. So that wouldn't really, like, follower number wouldn't really tell much. But with impressions, like if the impression is high, it could get us to somewhere. Like there are a lot of accounts with reels that have like 4 million views, 5 million views, but when you look at the followers of that account, it's nothing much
Mhm.
actually compared to the views.
I see. Okay. Okay. So that impression is like the key thing. How many impressions?
Yeah, impression views, like that's what I mean.
Okay. Um, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. That makes sense. Um,
Yep. Do you have any questions in here or maybe adjustments other than the platforms thingy?
this for Instagram, uh, two two Instagram posts, and this is weekly, correct?
Yes, this is weekly.
Okay. Now, Instagram stories, like, what's the difference between the Instagram reel and the Instagram story?
Instagram Reels is the content that will stay on the page, and when people click on our page, that's what they will see when they scroll. But Instagram Stories,
Hmm.
it's like what you post in that day, and it only stays there for 24 hours.
Oh, yep. Okay. Okay. Now, I get that part. Now, in terms of strategy,
Mm-hmm.
how do you determine what is a reel and then what is a story? So, in terms
Uh,
of strategy, like when you're choosing content, like
mhm.
how do you know, like, okay, this would be a good reel because I want this to stay on the page, rather than, okay, this would be a good story because it's going to disappear in 24/7 in 24
Mhm.
hours. So how do you determine which like how do you go about determining that?
Well, for stories, I'm thinking like those could be more, how to call it in English, I don't know, like light content. So,
Mm-hmm.
uh, for stories, it could be like, um, for example, what is it called in English? Sorry about that.
Oh,
Like
take your time.
action links, or maybe even like a weekend story, like have a good weekend type of
Mm-hmm.
post, because those are what people post to stories. But if it's like a content that
Mm-hmm.
is like created, like that I put time onto it, that should go to reels and that could attract people. But for stories, it's not like I would create a big content because it's gonna disappear for 24 hours later.
Yeah,
And yeah, stories, it could be more about just like keeping the account more active and in front of people's eyes, so that like just so that
I
they
see.
get to see the account being active daily.
I see. Now, does that is this content that can be pulled from my vlog? So I don't have to, I'm not gonna have to
Yeah.
create a whole nother like piece to do the stories.
No, no,
This
no,
is something
no,
you can.
no, you don't have to. Yeah, you don't have to. Like everything here, post, reel, or stories, I'm all thinking like I will create all these content from just your
Okay,
YouTube videos. So you don't
I
have to
see.
do
Yep,
anything
yep,
extra for that.
yep. That makes sense. That makes sense.
It's like up to
Which is
me.
a
I
good
have to
thing.
decide like what could be a story, what could be a reel, and what could be a post.
Yeah, and that's why I'm asking you how your decision making process
Mm-hmm.
when you go about looking at that. Because that's important. That's important because it's going to communicate out to the public, to the viewers,
Mm-hmm.
what they need to see at
Mm-hmm.
that time, and they because they
Yeah,
they
exactly.
understand. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah. So that's cool. So these engagement tools, hashtags. Again, I'm going to ask you that question. What would
Mm-hmm.
be the number one North Star metric tool to use? Is it the hashtag? Is it the location? Is it the keyword or the action button? Um,
It would
if
be
you can only
hashtags.
use, okay.
Hashtags and keywords, actually. Yeah, like keywords that I put when, by the way, when posting a Reels or Instagram post, there's also like, there will be a part where I have to put a caption there. So I will
Hmm.
also, while posting, like ask your opinion, what do you think of this caption or whatever. But the words we use in the caption, that's also working with the algorithm, so that's very important, and also hashtags as well. But so far what I've realized is like hashtags works the best for attracting people.
It's funny because that's opposite of that on YouTube. Hashtags have little weight on who sees it. It's really a
Mm,
keyword game because
mm-hmm,
Google acquired YouTube, so it's very keyword game that you're playing over there. But what you're saying is with Instagram,
mm-hmm.
it's hashtags,
It's
hashtags,
hashtags, I think.
hashtags, hashtags.
Yep. Mm-hmm,
Okay. Are there How do you go about looking for hashtags that work? Is there a grouping of
mm-hmm,
hashtags that you can say this cluster of hashtags, call
mm-hmm,
it 10 different hashtags, would work the best for your content?
mm-hmm.
How do you think about hashtags?
Like how I work with hashtags is uh I put the hashtags really like related to the content, and I also heard this thing from many people that Instagram does this thing like where if you put a unrelated word as hashtag just because it's a
Mm-hmm.
popular hashtag, Instagram
Mm-hmm.
recognizes it, and it's actually like blocking your post to going viral or popular. So
Mm-hmm.
me, I always use words that are actually related with the post, and also
Mm-hmm.
uh, for example, like we talk about Chipotle, and when using hashtags, it's like I type there Chipotle, and then there will be like top five Chipotle hashtags, for example. So I try to
Oh, I
use
see.
the
Yep.
ones that are most used and not the ones that are like not many people will reach to our post by those because they're not
I
very
see.
much used.
Mm-hmm.
So
That makes
yeah,
sense.
that's
That
how I
makes
use
sense.
it.
That makes sense. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Let's see. Any other questions I have here? Let me ask you again, for the
Okay.
posting schedule in terms of YouTube Shorts, TikTok, Instagram Reels, if you can just choose one, and that's all we did,
Mm.
which one would that be? Which one do you think would be the most powerful?
I think Instagram, like as I said before, I think Instagram
But
would
which
work
one?
the.
Reel,
Oh yeah,
reel,
Instagram
post,
Reels,
or
Reels, yeah.
so so Instagram Reels, if there was one thing we would keep on hammering Instagram
Mm-hmm.
Reels, that
Yep,
would be the
Instagram
one
Reels.
thing to focus on.
Yep, yep, absolutely.
Interesting.
Because people like it's a thing. Even me and my friends, we talk about it. Like people now don't really scroll on the like post page. It's more
Mm-hmm.
like they
Mm-hmm.
click on the reels and just scrolling on the reels. So yeah, it's a
Mm-hmm.
thing that we all realize. Like we don't Instagram post is not much of a thing anymore. It's like almost completely about reels. So
Hmm.
that's what I think about it.
Interesting. So if we put these all together from an IT strategy, so
Mm-hmm.
let's say there's a hyper focus on the reels,
Mm-hmm.
not even thinking about posts, hyper focus on reels,
Okay.
hyper focus on hashtags
Mm-hmm.
that creates impressions.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Like have a if you have like an impression goal, like
Mm-hmm.
what would be a good goal for impressions? Um,
Like you want me to tell you a number?
no, yeah, yeah. I'm just what the exercise that we're doing, Kumru, is I'm walking you through how I think about strategy.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So this is something that like you can use. I'm kind of teaching you as I'm learning and learning as I'm sharing how I think about strategy is like how do you cut through the noise and how do you find signal? Like I want to be there's a lot of noise out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I keen in on signal, right? So I'm looking for at all these activities, what's going
Mm-hmm.
to give me the most bang for the buck in terms of signal. And because at the end of the day, the way I'm looking at it is the way you're helping me look at it is
Mm-hmm.
with YouTube, it wasn't much it wasn't much of a funnel of sorts. Like it wasn't really like it would go viral, but it wasn't like giving me what I was looking for. What
Mm-hmm.
IG gives me is this top of the funnel layer. I actually threw it out. Like if this
Mm-hmm.
is if this is Instagram right here,
Mm-hmm.
I want this Instagram to go to my YouTube. I want the YouTube to help me attract the community that I need to build my business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I
Does that
understand.
make sense?
Yeah, of
And
course it makes sense.
what you're helping me see is how IG can be a part of like the larger audience pool
Mm-hmm.
that I'm looking to attract and getting them into my YouTube so they can see more of the long
Mm-hmm.
form of that content. But
Mm-hmm.
eventually, the business goal here is I want to be able to attract
Mm-hmm.
talent, investors, new clients. I want to be able to attract those type of people that
Mm-hmm.
that really care about the content that I'm producing.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, and then like so for instance, like from a strategic standpoint, I would want to start off with laser focus on IG. We're not going to do any posts. We're not going to do anything else, but
Mm-hmm.
IG Reels, until we hit an impression goal.
Mm-hmm.
Once we hit that impression goal, then we'll roll out the post.
Yep,
You know what I
I
mean?
see
We'll
what
kind of
you.
like slow drip it rather than
Uh-huh.
like trying to do all these different pieces, if that makes
I
sense.
see. Yep, yep, yep.
Because that's like a machine gun. You're just trying to like shoot at everything and see and
Mm-hmm.
see what sticks. So we have about 10 more minutes.
Okay.
But I like this direction, and I just wanted to go through that exercise with you so you can
Mm-hmm.
see how I'm thinking about it.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully it's of value to you as well
Yeah,
on
it
like
is, of course.
how to create signal and not like you want to be a social media person that's not just
Mm-hmm.
creating noise. And that's
Mm-hmm.
going to be the value you bring to clients. Like, and you're saying like, I'm going to help you cut through the noise. We're going to, this is how we're going to roll out your campaign. So
Mm-hmm.
I just hope that's of value to you. So if you want to share.
Tell me, what do you think? So these are some of the assets that she came back with. Definitely a big improvement. She was able to dial in on the branding and put these together for Instagram Reels. And she definitely opened my eyes about IG and how to use IG in my funnel. Because I was super, and I told her this, I was super bullish. This is my favorite piece right here. Like, I really like this piece. Because I say so many things, it's everything, nothing scripted, and everything is just like off the top of my head in that moment. And sometimes I say things, I just keep it moving, and it's good to have someone that can go back, capture it, and then pull it out for other people to really chew on it as a snack of sorts. So, yep, I'm really impressed with her work. She put a lot of effort into it.
Yeah, so we're here at Chipotle eating, and
Yeah, I like
one
that as
thing
well.
I did was
But
I
the main
ate
thing I wanted to
everything.
drive home with
I
her
took all the
is
guardrails off.
it's
And
really
if you've been following along,
how to think about.
so if
how
I
to
can
think
get my
about strategy.
eating back to at least 50
That
to
was the most important
60%
thing I wanted
of
to
what
drive
I was
home.
where I was
And
at,
there's so
then
much
I'll be
noise
doing
out
good.
there in social media world.
Doing good.
So I wanted to help me dial in on the signal that I want to send out. I said this once and I'm going to say it again. You're not going to get any good ideas just sitting in front of your laptop. So here I am taking a very, very long walk after three back-to-back meetings. And just letting everything marinate for a little bit. And just relaxing until I get back to it. I've never seen a city deer before. We got a deer here in the city. So right now I have a little bit of time. Like I just got back from my walk, so I have a little bit of time. In the beginning of the video, I talked about the 4 trends that I'm really bullish on. And that one trend is the silver tsunami. And just to repeat it, basically what that is boomers, people over the age of 65 and over retirement age had small businesses, let's say decades, they're looking to retire, but they don't have family to pass it on to, whether it be a son, a daughter, cousin, anyone younger to pass it on to a generation. So what's happening is there's going to be a big tide of a wealth transfer that's taking place over the next 10 to 20 years. And what I'm going to do is, as a part of my research, is I need to actually talk to these people. So I'm putting together just a small campaign, so I can kind of get my feet wet, of picking up the phone, calling some of these people that are looking to sell, just to get a feel. Because I can read, like right now, I'm reading some research on it. That's why I keep on looking back. Well, I can read about this all day long. But until I actually talk to 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 people that are in this situation, I'm not going to be able to get a clear picture of it. Because most of the stuff that I'm reading about it's either in the headlines, meaning that you have these big investment bank companies that are influencing the news, and there's just a lot of fluff. So what I'm doing is just taking the time, picking up the phone to call these people to see, just to get a feel. And I'll keep you up to date on what I'm doing. These are just little things that I like to do that most people aren't going to do. I like to touch the grass. I like to, roll up my sleeves and kind of like see it from the ground level, and not just, marketing speak that's on the internet. So stay tuned. I'm putting together a list right now, putting a database right now that I can begin talking to. And then as I have these conversations, I'm going to be sharing, what I'm learning as I go along. And then I'm going to do that. I'm going to do something similar for the other trends, that the other four trends that I'm bullish on as well. Like I said, I like to taste it. I want to actually get my hands dirty. So I'm on my second walk of the day, and just doing some thinking about what I was sharing with you in regard to the silver tsunami, and what what economists are saying right now is that roughly $72 trillion is going to be transferred from boomers to generational X and millennials coming in 2045. $72 trillion. Now, the reality is not everyone's going to participate in that transfer. This transfer is going to come, from people that establish businesses over time, or even homes, real estate. All those things play a factor of it, and it's going to be pretty interesting, because what's going to happen is it's going to drive innovation. It's going to drive a lot of different scenarios that we probably haven't seen since the boom in the 50s and 60s, or if you want to even go back further, the boom in the 30s. So right after the Depression, Great Depression. So it's really interesting. I'm just processing it. Nothing was entirely new for me. I pretty much was aware of it, but just the application of it, how I plan on applying it to where I'm planting my flag, that's the difference. So let me get back to the office. It looks like it's gonna rain, and then we'll continue this thing. Guess what? It's time for me to get out of here. I've been here pretty long. We had a thunderstorm, so that kind of like slowed me up, so I'm here longer than normal. But with that said, if there's anything in this video that resonates, please let me know in the comments. I'll be hanging out there for about 30-45 minutes. With that said, peace. Just in case you were wondering if I got my 10,000 steps in, here we go.